let's talk about Blitz. This film is from Steve McQueen, which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about him being named. I mean, I guess his name is Steve McQueen, but whenever I think of him, I think of the actor Steve McQueen.
Yeah, what's he supposed to do? Change his name?
Well, there is a rule before we get into it. You can bring the poster up if you would. There is a rule in SAG. A lot of people may not know this. There's a rule in SAG that you cannot be named. Your professional name cannot also be someone else's name who is in SAG. So, for example, Michael Keaton's real name is Michael Douglas. You probably knew that, right?
Yes.
So Michael Keaton's real name is Michael Douglas, and he actually wants to go back to being, that's his name, Michael Douglas. So Steve McQueen, I don't know how he got away with it, but
he's a director. He's not an actor. He's a director.
True, but I still think that's such an iconic name.
I know.
Steve McQueen. So, all right, let's talk about Blitz, directed by Steve McQueen, starring Saoirse Ronan. Saoirse? Pronouncing that wrong. Tell me the story of Blitz, Alan.
Okay, so Blitz, I'm just looking at the date of the actions. I don't see it here. But Blitz takes place during World War II. We are in England. The Germans are bombing London. Saoirse Ronan, let me get the names here. Saoirse plays Rita. She is the mother of young George. You can see him in the poster there. For safety, Rita decides that she's going to send her son off into the country, like many other families in London did, for safety. While George is angry at the fact that his mother would give him up like that. And so on the train ride out, the train doesn't get that far, and George escapes the train and heads back to London to be with his mother. And the movie is about reuniting finally with his mother. And we follow down two tracks here. Rita, who doesn't know that her son is missing, goes on with the war effort. And she is a riveter. She helps build weapons and ships and things like that. And she is just kind of holding strong to during these tough times. George, on the other hand, is a boy on his own, and just trying to figure out how to find his mother, and for the most part, how to survive. He runs into some pretty bad company that kind of enslave him in a way, and then he's just faced with one danger after the other. And so, can George finally reunite with Rita? What are the consequences of his actions along the way? That is the story of Blitz.
Yeah, and it should be mentioned. I don't know if you made it clear. It's set during World War II, and London is being bombed, and it's dangerous to be there. And there was keep a stiff upper lip. The English were very proud. They were going to stay there and not take it, but they were always under threat of bombs. So this giving up her son to go off to the countryside to get away from the city was a way of kind of protecting him. And then
he should also mention that George is black.
Half black,
and so therefore there's all that too in the story.
There is a sort of racial tension there that plays out in a few scenes. I think it's a very beautiful movie. The sound design is amazing. The effects in terms of bombed out London. There are some real tension scenes in the subway when he's hiding out in the subway with a lot of other Londoners are in the subway, and that gets bombed and flooded. So there are what describe some real action sequences on the train when he meets up with this group of three brothers, and they're trying to get back to London and or just go on an adventure. So it is, in a way, it's kind of like Empire of the Sun. It's the war through a child's eyes. So I felt like a lot of elements of the movie felt kind of forced, like the emotion, the racial stuff, which is like we see so often now. It's like, can you just say something else with it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sort of bordering on not recommending this film. It It's also an Apple movie, an Apple TV Plus, so it's in theaters limited until it's like on Apple TV Plus in November. So, I thought it was, some stuff was very beautiful, but like it felt like it checked boxes. That's so I walked away with that aspect of it. I felt that like does every movie about race tends to say the same thing? Can I get an original thought about this or some life lesson or insight that is different than the same thing over and over again? So that aspect sort of got a little tiresome, and I wasn't disappointed because there is a lot of spectacle and there's a Hans Zimmer score. So you've got all this great stuff balanced by other stuff that I thought brought the film down. So it's a very mixed review from me. So if you're hearing it's mixed, probably a pass
Yeah.
from me. Alan, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm on the same thing, same line. It just borders that recommend line, and I'm, you know, if you're into war films, I guess this is, go ahead and see it. I remember watching this movie and thinking to myself that I've seen this story before.
Yeah.
The only element of the story that's not there is the fact that George is biracial. And that's I just felt underwhelmed watching it. There's a lot of, like you say, it looks good. Saoirse is very very good. She plays a mother. The kid is actually a good actor too. Well done. But again, I just didn't feel like the story had anything in it that was necessarily new. Yeah, he's biracial, but it's not like it was a thing at times or it wasn't a thing at times. And it just kind of felt like when it became a thing, it was for the sake of the storytelling at the moment. And I bring this up a lot when I see films in England around this time, fictional films. They paint this world of Wicked Little Letters is one of them, where the town is very diverse and everyone gets along, and that color means nothing. But then you go to a movie like this that takes place at relatively the same time, and there's this racial tension going on, which kind of undermines both stories. It's like, are you trying to show a utopia of the world? Then why are you showing, the harsh realities of race in the world?
It's really just the Disneyfication of diversity as this utopia. And it's not a utopia, but it's not all a racial, evil happening as well. It's real life that I think people think about it a lot less than the media would have us say. So,
yeah, but my problem is Wicked Little Letters takes place relatively the same time, and it paints a very different world than this world.
Yeah.
And that's how I say is, if you're going to make a movie that takes place at a specific time in a specific location, be authentic to it. Don't force diversity, because then you got this kind of weird, weird comparisons going on. Well, was it a good time for minorities in the 1930s, or wasn't it? And it's just a stupid conversation that we have to have, and we have to go through this DEI argument, risking cancellation for even bringing up the discussion. So
yeah, so I'm like very meh on the film, which is sad because Hans Zimmer did the score, the sound design is amazing. There are really ambitious, incredibly ambitious action sequences in the subway, on the trains, in the town, the destruction from World War II. The set pieces are incredible, but I just wasn't as emotionally drawn in as I believe the filmmakers intended. And I'm sure I'm racist for thinking about that.
How dare you?
Just like I'm thinking, like the whole thing of like, you're not my Asian friend. You're my friend. You're my friend, Alan. I don't think of you by your ethnicity or whatever. It's so weird that it feels like there's just a weird version of diversity that they push, that the real diversity that exists in real life doesn't represent diversity as it's shown on screen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not my white friend Chris, you're my friend Chris. And and living in a white America. Never mind. I had a bit going and I lost it.
No,
So.
do it. It's all about this weird progressive thought of you have to check a certain box or.
Oh yeah, here's the punchline. Who in America would have thought that I'd have a white friend? There you
go. You would grow up and have a white friend. Oh my God, it's so stupid.
There you go.
So yeah, so it's a pass or a bare recommend. Pick which one you want.
Yeah, I mean it's only going to be in theaters for the Oscar run, just to get it nominated. But and then you can watch it. Here's the thing, though, if you're going to watch this movie, it should be in a theater with an amazing soundtrack or sound system. It's a gorgeous film, and to watch it at home on your television, it kind of dishonors the film.
But it where it succeeds is The War Through the Eyes of a Boy.
Mm-hmm.
That succeeds, but where it fails is on a lot of on the emotional level.
Yeah, and then my understanding was that he was offered what a lot of filmmakers are offered, where Apple says, "Look, if you go straight to streaming, we'll give you this large amount of money to make the movie. But if you want to go to theaters, we're gonna have to cut your budget." And I think that's part of why it's on Apple Plus or Apple TV.